So I'm working through that playlist slowly, and I know I said I would do another trans-specific video, but I actually, there's lots of news today and rumours and stuff flying around Aimee Challenor, who I had mentioned in another video, rumours I am not going to mention. So as a more general point, I want to discuss what Aimee Challenor, Jess Bradley, Liam Madigan, what they exemplify. Now these are three very, very vulnerable people. You know, vulnerable and offensive and dangerous are not mutually exclusive, and in fact, far from it. Now, Aimee Challenor is a very, very mentally disturbed young male who has been actively encouraged by major institutions to believe that it is normal behaviour to identify women because they're discussing the power they don't have, because they're discussing their lives. After 8 years of austerity, Aimee Challenor has been encouraged to believe that a connection that he imagines to those women in his head means that he needs an internet tool to gather them up, stalk them, abuse them, and drive them off Twitter. And he has been led to believe that that is not only normal, but that is activism, and that's womanhood. And the responsibility for that is not Aimee Challenor's. The responsibility for that is the Green Party and the media, who have unquestioningly repeated what Aimee Challenor has said and done, and not analysed what he has done. Liam Madigan is a very seriously mentally unwell young man who was used by a major political party. And even when he disclosed that his version of womanhood was that he would only feel safe if women were driven out of his eyeline. Like, his identity and his mental disorder was such that he only feels safe if other women are harmed. And even when he revealed he had schizophrenia, and some of his disordered beliefs were about women and what had to happen to women so he would feel valid, he was given a party to help him do that. He was given massive political machinery and a media platform to do that. MPs like Wes Street further abused his victims. I was put on that list and made part of national attention. I'm a private citizen and was put on a list of transfers by a young man whose version of womanhood is that women have to be erased to make him feel safe. Jess Bradley openly campaigned, constantly, for access to spaces of safety from male violence and access to vulnerable groups, while simultaneously telling everybody his beliefs about his exposure. You know, he should not have come as any surprise. These three young men are very vulnerable, very mentally disordered young men who were given support by major political machinery. And nobody listened to what they said because they were kept as objects idealised. And now we're going through the process where people are going to start listening to them and hearing the batshit things that they have said. Now, they have created a completely sealed bubble around themselves on Twitter because they've made it dangerous for women and children to go near our political establishment, and they were used as a violent and dangerous cudgel. And that was done knowingly by adults who were not mentally unwell. Their mental disorder was validated and their delusions were validated. And the media applauded when they did that and told them it was womanhood. Now, you've all created a tiny bubble on Twitter where it's all observable, but I think you should probably remember the difference between a driver and a passenger. Liam Madigan is a very dangerous, mentally unwell and very fragile young man who's caused a great deal of harm to a great many women he doesn't know. He should never have been given the power to do that. Jess Bradley is a very dangerous person. Aimee Challenor has been telling everybody that he is a very dangerous young male. Ros Cavini has been telling everybody openly. Tanis Wood was saying openly, I am a danger. Sean Fay has said he is a danger to women and only feels valid when he can subordinate and erase women. They have said this openly and been applauded for it. And now the safeguarding debate that they have requested, where we have to force recognition of these systems, has exposed all the disciplines and all the institutions that validated these young men. And if one of the people that they have generated risk with hurts somebody like me, and that's very, very seriously likely. You know, at the Correcting a Blind Spot meeting, one of the most sobering conversations that we had to have was, one of us is going to end up dead. Because they have legitimised, openly stated, disturbing and dangerous disordered thinking and said it's normal. And the reason that they have said it's normal is because it reflects the narcissism that exists in those media cultures, and they did not recognise it as abnormal. And when this is done, we have to recognise the impact of that. And what those organisations who elevated Jess Bradley, Liam Madigan and Aimee Challenor will do is they will present them as the reason. They are not. They were just given a vehicle, and we have to look at that vehicle and why they were so willing to do that, because this has been disturbing.